Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Real Sports Updates here. Back again with another video. So, you guys see the title, you see the thumbnail. Let's get into this a little bit. Obviously, the status of Justin Herbert is going to be paramount for the Chargers. Obviously, paramount in what the Chargers want to accomplish this season, but also just for the very near future, right? Game on Sunday against Jacksonville, Houston right afterwards. Those two teams are teams that are not considered, amongst the top teams in the league. Obviously, we know that. Jacksonville is very, very competent, though, with Doug Peterson at coach. Through 2 games, they have looked pretty decent. And, they are competent on offense. They have a lot of young talent on defense, particularly on the defensive line, pass rushers. So this coming game against Jacksonville is not going to be a pushover game. It's not going to be a game where you can, try anybody out there and expect to win. It's not going to be that. So the status of Justin Herbert is very, very paramount. Now, obviously, we as Charger fans, we know we don't have much at the backup quarterback position. Right now, Chase Daniel is officially the number 2 quarterback on the depth chart. And if Justin Herbert can't go, he will be the one starting the game. That is not a good situation for the Chargers to be in. Chase Daniel is a guy who people talk glowingly about. They talk about everything, from him being a family man to him being a good teammate, to him being very entertaining in the locker room, a guy who likes to keep things loose, joke around and stuff. Everything about him has been said under the sun except for him being a good football player, right? Which is all that matters. All that other stuff doesn't really matter to us as fans. I mean, I'm sure some fans can take to it and like a guy because of it. But if you are a real fan of football, none of that stuff does, matters, right? It doesn't register. It doesn't register for me at all. I could care less how, he interacts with his family or anything else of the nature. I care what he does on the football field. And the Chargers are in a world of trouble as far as the backup quarterback position goes. And Chase Daniel, he cannot do anything that Justin Herbert can do. He is obviously shorter. He's probably 7 inches shorter than Justin Herbert. A lot less athletic. Does not have near the arm. Does not have the information processing. He's never been a good quarterback in this league. He's never been a good football player. He's always been a good teammate. He's always been a good guy to have on your roster, good locker room guy, but he's never been a good football player. And this is the biggest issue that the Chargers face, particularly on Sunday if Justin Herbert can't go. This is a huge, huge issue. Now, all of the videos and all of the commentary that I've had about Joe Lombardi, it's mostly been negative, right? Because that is what I'm seeing from Joe Lombardi, especially considering the video that I did yesterday about him. Now, this is a chance I think Lombardi has to... I said this last week, and obviously he didn't redeem himself, but I will say it again. I think he has a chance to redeem himself if Justin Herbert doesn't play, because this game plan, this offensive game plan becomes much, much, much more simple without Justin Herbert in the game. This game plan becomes extremely run heavy, and, as far as Chase Daniel goes, you are being very careful with the plays that you call, and you're pretty much looking to have him in play action and take advantage of a good running attack. That's what you're doing, right? You're not, running him out there and having him throw the ball, 35 times, not even 30 times. I think anything under, 25 and under, it would be a good number for Chase Daniel. This game plan would be a very, very heavy run attack. And I think that's the only way the Chargers can win. You have to go back and you have to play small ball, right? If Justin Herbert doesn't play, you got to run the ball. You got to take time off the clock. You have to bleed the clock. You have to keep the ball away from Trevor Lawrence, the Jacksonville offense. And obviously, the defense has to continue doing what it's been doing the first 2 weeks. I think that's the only way that the Chargers pull a game out like this. Because, again, like I said, Jacksonville is competent. They have 2 bookends who are pretty good in Jacksonville. Josh Allen, he's a guy that doesn't get a lot of, press. He doesn't get a lot of media because he plays in Jacksonville. but he is a pretty damn good player. He's extremely athletic. He reminds me a little bit of Khalil Mack. He obviously is not Khalil Mack, right? He doesn't have the accolades, but he is, in that mold. He is a big muscle guy that is extremely flexible, that is extremely athletic, and that can get to the quarterback. They obviously have the rookie, the number 1 pick, Trayvon Walker out of Georgia. He's been making some noise the first couple of weeks. They have some pretty good talent on the defensive end, so it would not be a pushover game by any stretch of the imagination. The Chargers defense would pretty much have to pull this out. Defense and running game, you would have to go back to 1985, 1986, or whatever, that type of game plan in order to win this game. So I do think that it is important for the Chargers to really, really focus in. They have to be. Everybody has to be focused, right, without Herbert. If Herbert doesn't go, as of right now, as of the recording of this video, I have not heard anything about the status of Justin Herbert. I would assume that there is going to be some practice stuff, maybe some practice news coming out later on today about whether he was able to go or not. The Chargers have really kept this thing under wraps. They have not, really released any information at all. So all there is really speculation out there now. So the status of Herbert is really up in the air right now. I think it's at this point 50-50 without any information, without any clarification coming from the Chargers. So yeah, it's a toss up at this point right now. But yeah, I mean, just getting back to the game plan, I think it is going to have to come down to the defense. Defense has balled out the first couple of weeks. I'm extremely, extremely confident what the defense can do. But offensively, without Justin Herbert, even with Keenan Allen in the game, we seen what Chase Daniel did in the preseason. Actually, the previous 2 preseasons. He is a guy, he should be retired at this point right now. He's made a bunch of money in his career as a backup, over $40 million. He's only played in a handful of games, handful of snaps. He doesn't have, great stats or anything like that. But his skills that he did have are minimal at this point. His preseason was full of bad throws, just full of a lot of bad football. And, that was against preseason competition. These guys that you're going out, to play against are NFL starters. And, things could get ugly if Chase Daniel is not up to par. I think that's where, Easton Stick comes in. I think he brings much, much more of a explosive element than Chase Daniel does. But even still, Easton Stick has not played any football. He's not, started a game at quarterback in the NFL. So, he can be a guy that's raw too. It's one thing practicing, but it's a different animal going out there and playing against, starting NFL caliber defensive guys. It's a completely different animal. So it'll be interesting to see how this week plays out. This is very crucial. This is probably going to come down to, I would say, a decision probably gets made maybe Friday. Normally guys know by then if they're going to be able to play or not. I think with this, you're going to be able to know pretty soon. I would be surprised if it came down to a game time decision. If it did go that way, I would think that, it would be trending that he would play if he's not ruled out. If he's not ruled out by Friday, I think he's going to play. But again, we're just going to have to see how this plays out. There's not, much information out about this at all. So we're just going to have to see how it trickles down. But, in the unlikely case that he cannot go, it's going to be a rough ride for the Chargers. And, if he can't go, is he just out for this game? Is he out for the Houston game? So this could really change things a lot, not just in the AFC West, but in the AFC in general. So, this is crucial time here. If you're a Charger fan, this is, pins and needles time. So, we'll see what happens, but that's really all I got for this one. Just kind of previewing this game, just as I look at everything. I'll have much more on this as the week goes on, but those are just my preliminary thoughts as of right now. So that's all I got for this one, guys. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. Don't forget to hit the like button on your way out as well too. I'll be back with much more content, and thank you guys so much for all the support. Shout out my new subscribers as well. Thank you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow.